what I really want is I want wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
I want wisdom.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, you have to understand, like, a lot of these athletes, they're coming from backgrounds to where they didn't have much. And then all of a sudden they have access to excess.
Ain't nothing sweeter than this Jesus peace. My Father on it all, I'll never need a lead.
All right, y'all, let's move on to Deshaun Watson. Nikki has done a ton of research. Hit us up.
They're like, she's the researcher. Okay.
She's the researcher.
So Deshaun Watson, I'm sure Germaine can kind of add a little bit more to it, because I know you're
right down the street in Houston, 3 hours south of us.
Yeah, so
all this is popping off.
And all the sports shows that he loves to watch. I don't watch quite as many, but there are 22 civil lawsuits alleging various levels of sexual assault or harassment. And so this is, I guess he has some, different masseuses, several. And so you have some coming out and saying that there were some inappropriate acts. And then as I read further,
upwards to 100.
Yeah. And so as I read further, I guess there were some, according to what I read, and I always say that because I never want to come off like I was right there and know everything that's happened. So if you hear me keep on saying, according to what I read, or allegedly, that's what I'm basing off of, because I don't want to come off as accusatory.
Right.
But his defense was saying that he always had a reputation as a good guy, and that some of the sexual acts that occurred were consensual, so that's where we are with that, unless you want to add a little bit more detail based on some of the information you've seen too. And then I have a thought.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have a lot of women coming forward. 2 of the women actually came on camera, and one of them, gave a confession or gave a, her story on camera or whatever. Forget her last name is Elise or whatever. And it's just really crazy. It kind of gives me that Ravi Zacharias feel. Now, I know it's extremely different, but yet it's still
like dealing with the massages.
Dealing with the massages and just like. But the thing that really rocks me is because that makes it really similar is because it seemed like Ravi mastered the art of learning how to be 2 different people in different places. That duality, duplicity, that stuff. And it kind of is coming off. Now, listen, these are all allegations. We believe in innocence or proven guilty. Yeah. But however, with all of these, I mean, this is a lot of women. All right. Yeah. It seems like if this proves to be true, it's like, okay, he comes off as very quiet. You know what I'm saying? And, they always told us coming up, watch out for the quiet ones. Watch out for the quiet ones, for real. But, he comes off very wholesome and, run through a wall for being, as far as being a leader, people want to run through a wall for him. And see, he's a very likable person. But then, according to these allegations, it seems like he becomes a different person off the field with the women in these massages. You know what I'm saying? And like, this is why it gives me that Ravi Zacharias feel, because it seems like, okay, I can be one person over here, but then in my private life, I can just play the field and just be wicked with some stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, that's why it gives me that Ravi feel.
Yeah. And Kyle, thank you for chiming in. He says it's really not looking good for Deshaun. I don't know. I'm hoping for the best, but like we said, my thing is when Germaine was telling me about it, this week, and you had mentioned, was it Shannon Sharpe who said he has
yeah, he has a masseuse. He had a masseuse, his masseuse for over 30 years.
Yeah, and
I believe.
So can you kind of speak to what you were telling me about what Shannon Sharpe was saying about that?
Yeah, it was like, now listen, this whole professional athlete world, this is a whole different world to me. All right. I did not know folks got down like that. Like, until this stuff jumped off, I didn't know people like had straight up, like for real, like professional masseuses that travel with them, that would stay with them for decades and stuff like that, and how they disrobe in front of them and stuff like that, and they can touch certain areas and stuff like that because they have to, because of their profession. And you know how like they can text the masseuse and say, hey, can you meet me at such and such spot if you feel comfortable, and they'll meet them there if they feel comfortable. And like there's a whole nother world of masseuse.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I didn't know
I did not know.
Yeah,
I did not know.
I mean, it's things you really don't think about.
Yeah, but the people who say that they have those, they say, yeah, I got maybe one. I've had 1, 2, maybe 3 my whole life.
Yeah. Because most times
upwards to 100.
Yeah, that's a bit much, and that's where my thoughts went. Because you know, pre-pandemic, you know, that was one of my loves, is going to get a massage. You know, having that pamper day, and you know, going to the spa and getting a relaxing massage. But you know, even, and I know I'm not an athlete by any means, but I'm saying when you get a person that you prefer, that knows like your preference and knows, you know, that they're not squeezing it, you know, you're massaging so hard to where you're leaving in pain. They know the pressure points, and you know, or they know like whether or not you want to talk, or if that's relaxing, or if you just want to remain in silence. Like you start to request the same person, so it's like you don't need multiple different people, you know. And so, and that's just me coming from a non-athlete perspective now, but still the same could apply, right? But I'm just thinking about not putting yourself in a compromising position either. I mean, you're talking about how many? I know there's 22
almost 100. Listen,
but
these are 22 who have filed a claim.
Yeah.
Then you have another group of women who said that, hey, everything went well. Like, I didn't feel uncomfortable. He didn't do anything wrong. And so when we're already talking about 22 different cases. Then we're talking about there's a group of women so that puts you at 50 something. So he's upwards to 100 different women. He would like get these women information on Instagram and like fly them in for the weekend and stuff like that. Hey, massage. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, woo.
Yeah.
Listen, man. Listen. This is why the Bible says, "Be wise as serpents, but harmless as a dove." Because, like, listen. At best, this is extremely poor judgment.
Yeah.
At best,
you just have to use discernment.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. And like Solomon. Listen, it reminds me of Solomon. Solomon, he had everything. He had wives and concubines, and he had lots of money and property and livestock and things like that, right? He was a trillionaire in his time. But he said, listen, what I really want is I want wisdom. I want wisdom. Yeah. So, and it's like, you know, you have to understand, like, a lot of these athletes, they're coming from backgrounds to where they didn't have much. And then all of a sudden they have access to excess. Yeah. And it's like, okay, like the wisdom didn't equate to the amount of money he got to do what he does. Like, okay, like I'm in a different space now because I can afford to be in a different space. However, like I haven't been educated on how to maneuver being in this different space. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
And not only that, but having people who will take advantage of you being in that circle. Yeah, you know, like you have more people throwing themselves at you because of what you have. So you do have to have discernment. Yeah. You know, and wisdom and self-control too.
Yeah, yeah. Think about, so if that's the case, why would I want to have several different transactions or interactions with many different women if I know I'm a millionaire? I'm filthy rich. Yeah. Why would I want to put myself in that compromising position?
Yeah, that's the bottom line.
So this is why I say at best, this is bad judgment. You know, us as Christians, how I think we need to view it. We need to make sure that we believe or remember that they're innocent till proven guilty. Right. And yes, we need to pray for the victims. Pray for the victims first and foremost. Also, pray for Deshaun Watson. Yeah. And his family. Yeah. You know, because I know his mama, like they did interviews with him. My mama raised him better than this. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If it turns out that he really is guilty of this stuff, mama raised them better than that. You know what I'm saying? And so like wisdom is worth a whole lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
So
Kyle's offering a good word of wisdom too. He said, I only get massages in my wife's presence. We go together, especially if it's someone of the opposite sex who is doing the massage, of course, so that's a good nugget too. So thank you for dropping that in.
Yeah. So anyways,
all right.
Y'all pray for Deshaun. Pray for Deshaun. Pray for the victims. Pray for this whole situation. I hope it comes to a result. It comes to a whole. It comes to some type of peaceful resolution.
Yeah.
And somehow some lesson is learned.
I'm just trying to live. They want me to be deceased. They want to put a bullet through my Jesus piece. Yeah, ain't nothing sweeter than this Jesus piece. My father owned it all. I'll never need a lease.